I'm Vic, and you are amazing. Now, let me tell you about a kid who could never sit still in class. Not because they didn't care, but because every squeak in the hallway, every flicker of light, every random thought about volcanoes or black holes, or why do pigeons bob their heads when they walk, felt urgent, magnetic, impossible to ignore. Teachers called it distractibility. Parents called it impulsive. Report cards called it needs to apply themselves. But what if it was something else? What if it was hypercuriosity? Today I want to talk about research that's quietly reshaping how we understand ADHD. Not as a deficit of attention, but as an amplified, novelty-seeking, intensely curious mind. Researchers have started calling it the hypercuriosity hypothesis, and it might just change everything. I have the wonderful Mike here with me today, and he has some thoughts to share too. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Vic. Thanks for having me join you again.
You're welcome. Always a pleasure, Mike. Now, most of us have heard of hyperfocus, that laser beam state people with ADHD sometimes enter, where they can work for hours without noticing time passing. It's almost mythical, intense, productive, immersive. Hyperfocus has a counterpart, hypercuriosity. Instead of locking in on one thing, hypercuriosity pulls you towards everything.
This is such an interesting topic. I knew a person at school who would spend hours researching how engines work, or the history of ancient tools, or the physics of roller coasters. It was like an almost physical itch to explore, to know, to ask questions, to pull apart the engine just to see how it works. It was like his learning was non-linear. It spiraled. One question led to 5 more. It seemed untidy, but was actually really profound. I think his biggest challenge was being in a system that didn't always honour his style of learning.
This is just it. Learning isn't passive. It's urgent. Research suggests this type of learning isn't random chaos. It's deeply tied to the brain's reward pathways, the same circuits that light up during hyperfocus. New information can feel like a reward hit, a surge of interest, a spark. And that urgency, it can look a lot like impulsivity. Here's where it gets fascinating. Studies show that the neurological pathways involved in curiosity, the drive to explore, overlap with those involved in impulsivity, the drive to act.
Exactly. So the urge to ask the question and the urge to blurt it out, they may come from the same place. However, ADHD is complex. When hypercuriosity is suppressed, it can lead to frustration, shame, and burnout. I've seen this happen. But when it's channeled through boundaries, creative projects, flexible learning, and intentional design, it can become innovation, insight, and deeply original thinking.
Absolutely. And of course, hypercuriosity is one facet of a diverse neurodivergent experience, not the whole story. And it certainly doesn't mean every experience looks the same. But what this conversation offers is a reframing. Instead of asking, why can't this person just focus? We might ask, what is this mind reaching for? We've reached the end of today's podcast. However, as always, your thoughts are always welcome. Until next time.
Can I have a cup of tea now?